In the quiet town of Greywood, a dilapidated house sat abandoned at the end of Willow Lane. Locals called it the Mirror House, a nickname earned by the countless broken shards of glass scattered across its overgrown yard. Nobody dared approach it. The house was cursed, or so the stories claimed. One rainy evening, a group of teenagers, Anna, Jake, and their skeptical friend Miles, decided to explore the infamous house. They'd heard the stories. People who entered never came out the same. Some lost their minds. Others disappeared altogether. But Miles, a staunch disbeliever in the supernatural, scoffed at such tales. "It's just a house," Miles insisted. "Nothing more. Let's prove them wrong." Reluctantly, Anna and Jake followed. As they stepped inside, the house seemed to sigh, the creaking door welcoming them with an unsettling groan. The air was cold, unnaturally so, and smelled faintly of something rotten. The first thing they noticed was the mirrors. They covered every inch of the walls, reflecting their hesitant faces back at them. Most were cracked or smeared with something dark and sticky, but some were pristine, almost glowing in the dim light. "Creepy," Anna whispered, hugging herself. As they ventured deeper, the mirrors began to distort their reflections. In one, Anna's face appeared to be smiling, even though her lips were firmly pressed together. In another, Jake's eyes bled black tears that dripped onto his shirt in the reflection but left no stain in reality. "This is some kind of trick," Miles muttered, his voice betraying unease. He tapped on one of the mirrors, but instead of a solid surface, his hand sank through it, as though into water. "What the?" Miles yanked his hand back, shaking off a strange, viscous substance that clung to his skin. "That's not normal," Jake stammered. They tried to leave, but the door they'd entered through was gone. The hallway stretched endlessly behind them, mirrors multiplying on either side. Each reflection seemed more distorted than the last. Anna's reflection now stood still, staring directly at her with hollow eyes, even as she turned to run. "What is this place?" Anna cried, tears streaming down her face. Miles, still trying to rationalize, approached a larger mirror at the end of the hallway. It was different, its surface shimmered like liquid mercury, and faint whispers emanated from it. "Maybe this is the way out," Miles said, his voice trembling. Without waiting for the others, he stepped through. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, a blood-curdling scream erupted from the other side. Miles stumbled back, but something else followed him. It wasn't human. The thing that emerged bore Miles' face, but its eyes were hollow voids, and its grin stretched impossibly wide. It tilted its head, observing them with a predatory curiosity. "Leave him alone," Jake shouted, grabbing a nearby piece of broken wood. The creature lunged at Jake, its hands impossibly fast and clawed. Jake's scream was cut short as the creature dragged him into the mirror. Blood splattered across the glass, but when Anna looked again, the mirror was clean, reflecting only her terrified face. "Anna," a voice whispered. It was Jake's voice, but it came from her own reflection. She turned to run, but every mirror showed a version of her, some crying, some screaming, and others smiling maniacally. Miles, or the thing pretending to be him, stalked toward her. "You shouldn't have come here," it said in a voice that was both his and something else entirely. Desperate, Anna smashed one of the mirrors with her fist, ignoring the pain as shards cut into her skin. Behind the glass, she glimpsed something horrifying, a mass of writhing bodies, their faces twisted in agony, reaching out toward her. Among them, she saw Jake, his face frozen in terror, and dozens of others, people who had entered the house and never left. Anna ran, her feet slipping on blood-slicked floors that hadn't been there moments ago. The hallway stretched endlessly, the mirrors now showing her future, her body broken, her face twisted into the same manic grin as the others. A soft voice called her name. "Anna, come here." She turned to see a mirror at the end of the hall, untouched, glowing faintly. In it stood her reflection, but it looked normal, hopeful even. "This way," it said gently, extending a hand. With no other options, Anna reached out. The moment their hands touched, she felt a sharp pain in her chest. She looked down to see her reflection's hand piercing her heart, a grin spreading across its face. The last thing Anna saw before darkness consumed her was herself stepping out of the mirror, wiping blood from its hand. The house was silent again. Outside, the rain stopped, and the wind carried faint whispers from inside. Weeks later, another group of thrill-seekers arrived at the mirror house, drawn by the tales of its horrors. They didn't notice the 3 new faces staring at them from the mirrors as they entered. The house always needed new souls.